Have you ever looked at someone successful and quietly thought, they're just different? They're lucky. They have something I don't. Maybe you once wanted to start a business. Maybe you wanted to get in shape. Maybe you wanted to build something of your own. But instead of starting, you kept researching, watching, comparing, doubting. And slowly, comparison turned into hesitation. Hesitation turned into inaction. And inaction turned into years. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." But it's more than that. Comparison is often the thief of courage. This is the story of a man who stopped measuring himself against others and finally started measuring himself against who he was yesterday. Stay with me until the end. In a crowded city filled with glass buildings and endless noise, there lived a 31-year-old man named Adrian. Adrian worked as a junior graphic designer at a marketing agency. He wasn't bad at what he did. In fact, he was good. But he was always almost good enough, almost creative enough, almost bold enough, almost confident enough. Every morning on the train to work, Adrian scrolled through social media. Designers his age were launching their own studios, posting award-winning projects, speaking at conferences. He would stare at their work and feel something tight in his chest. "They're ahead," he would think. "I'm behind." At work, when his manager asked for ideas, Adrian often stayed quiet, not because he had none, but because he imagined someone else had a better one. He compared his draft to imaginary perfection, and perfection always won. At night, he told himself, "One day, I'll build my own portfolio. One day, I'll freelance. One day, I'll take that risk." But every time he opened his laptop, he ended up scrolling again, watching others run while he stood still. And the more he watched, the smaller he felt. One evening, Adrian attended a design conference. He didn't go as a speaker. He didn't go as a VIP. He bought the cheapest ticket and sat near the back. The keynote speaker was a woman in her early 40s named Sophia Moreno. She owned a successful creative agency and had worked with global brands. She spoke confidently, but not arrogantly. At the end of her talk, during the Q&A, someone asked, "When did you know you were ready to start your own company?" Sophia smiled. "I wasn't ready," she said. "I was just tired of waiting to feel ready." The room laughed softly. Then she added, "I spent years comparing myself to designers who were better than me. Then, one day, I realized something. I was studying their highlight reel while judging myself by my behind the scenes." Adrian felt like the sentence was aimed directly at him. After the talk, he hesitated, then walked up to her. "I feel like I'm always behind," he admitted. Sophia didn't give him a motivational speech. She asked him a simple question. "Behind who?" Adrian blinked. "Everyone." She shook her head. "There is no everyone. There is only you yesterday and you today. If today you're 1% better, you're ahead. If not, you're behind, but only to yourself." Then she handed him a small notebook from her bag. "Do this for 90 days, she said. "Every day, create something. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be posted. Just create. And at the end of each day, write one sentence. Today, I improved by—" "That's it?" Adrian asked. "That's it," she replied. Stop measuring sideways. Measure forward. The next morning, Adrian didn't scroll on the train. His fingers twitched toward his phone, but he remembered her words. Measure forward. Instead, he opened a blank canvas on his tablet. The first design he made that day was average. The second was messy. The third looked like something a beginner would create. A voice inside him whispered, "See, you're not that good." But that night, in the notebook, he wrote, "Today, I improved by finishing something instead of quitting." Day 2, he created again. Day 3, again. Day 7, he almost skipped. "Missing one day won't matter," the voice said. But this time, he noticed something. That voice sounded exactly like the one that had kept him stuck for years. So he created anyway. Not for applause, not for likes, not to compete. Just to be slightly better than yesterday. About a month later, something subtle shifted. Adrian stopped checking what other designers were doing first thing in the morning. He started thinking, what can I build today? At work, during brainstorming sessions, he began speaking up. His ideas weren't perfect, but they were his. One afternoon, his manager paused mid-meeting and said, "Adrian, you've been bringing strong concepts lately. What changed?" He thought about it. "I stopped trying to be them. I started trying to be better than me." 3 months passed. Adrian had filled the entire notebook, 90 entries, 90 small improvements. He decided to post one of his projects online. Not to prove anything, just to share. It wasn't viral. It didn't explode overnight, but it caught the attention of a small startup looking for a freelance designer. They reached out. The project was modest. The pay wasn't life-changing, but it was his first independent client. Proof. Not that he was the best, but that he was moving. A year later, Adrian still worked at the agency, but he also had a steady stream of freelance clients. His portfolio was no longer empty. It was alive. He wasn't the most famous designer in the city, but he no longer felt behind. One evening, while organizing his desk, he found the old notebook Sophia had given him. He flipped to the first page. "Today, I improved by finishing something instead of quitting." He smiled. That was the day everything changed. Not because he became extraordinary, but because he stopped waiting to feel extraordinary. My friend, Adrian's story is not about design. It's about comparison. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they measure themselves against someone 10 steps ahead and decide they're not enough. They scroll through someone else's chapter 20 and feel ashamed of their chapter 1. But growth is not a race across the world. It's a quiet walk forward. You don't need to be better than everyone. You just need to be better than you were yesterday. And that improvement might be invisible to the world. But over 30 days, over 90 days, over a year, it compounds. So, here's what I want you to do. For the next 30 days, stop measuring sideways. Pick one skill, one goal, one area of your life, and every single day do something small to move it forward. Then ask yourself one question before you sleep. Am I 1% better than yesterday? If the answer is yes, you're ahead. Not of them, of you. And that's the only race that matters. If this story felt familiar, share it with someone who might be trapped in comparison. And tell me in the comments, what is the one area where you'll stop comparing and start progressing? Until next time, measure forward, improve quietly, and let consistency speak louder than comparison.